guys, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're doing my Shadowhunter September wrap-up. So I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible because of the fact that I do have vlogs out for every single week and every single book that I read for Shadowhunter September. I will leave everything linked down below, but there should be 4 vlogs that I did like 1 week each, and then the last one had 10 days because of the little extra bit we had in September. And I did actually end up reading all 18 Shadowhunters books in the month of September. It got a little dicey around week 3. I did not think I was going to make it because I did end up a little bit behind. And by a little bit, I mean like almost 1,000 pages behind. But I did finally finish them all. I finished at like 5:30 p.m. on September 30th, so I even had a little bit of time to spare, and because of that, I did read over 10,000 pages. That's ridiculous. I think my best month besides September was like 6,000, almost 500, and this month I read 10,186 pages. Yes. So, like I said, I'm going to try and go through the things that I liked, the things that I think you should know about these books, and we're just going to try and make this quick. So obviously the first thing that I read this month was for the first 3 books in the Mortal Instruments. This was originally supposed to be just a trilogy, and then they added on books 4, 5, and 6 when they were unable to do a like Simon manga series, I think is what they were originally planning on doing. I did give all of these books 5 stars. I do think because I've read them so much, I knew exactly what to expect. I do think the first book is good. It's a good starting point. I probably should give it like a 4.5 because it's not my favorite. Out of these 3, I actually do think City of Ashes is my favorite. It just has really good characterization and I love the like plot points in it. City of Glass is still good. I know a lot of people really like this one and then didn't like books 4, 5, and 6, but I think City of Ashes is my favorite. I always liked Simon and Alec and Magnus and that kind of stuff. Jason Clary, not my favorite characters. It is what it is. But I do love the fact that these books especially are so dialogue heavy, but it's very quick to read because of that. There is the incest plot line that a lot of people talk about. However, if you read through to the 3rd book, especially I think it's only like halfway through the 3rd book, they explain everything. It's not a big deal, especially since the biggest book that has that is City of Ashes. But that was never my favorite part anyway, but I still loved the like action and character stuff that happened in this trilogy. The next book I ended up reading was The Red Scrolls of Magic. This is by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. I read this last year, actually really enjoyed it, and I still really did enjoy it. This takes place directly after City of Glass in the timeline. I do not think you should read this directly after City of Glass if you have not read the rest of the Mortal Instruments and also the Infernal Devices. It does fit there chronologically, but it is not the best way to do it. I did love the characterizations in here because it was written more recently, and I do feel like you get to know Alec and Magnus more. You also get to know Helen and Aline more, people that you wouldn't necessarily see until like later series, and I really did enjoy it. However, it has spoilers in here. It doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the Mortal Instruments. But I really do love this one. I love the writing style and everything in this one. The next series that I read, because I read the whole trilogy, was the Infernal Devices. Now, originally I did read these in publication order. You really probably should read them that way, but you don't have to. You either need to read them the first 3 Mortal Instruments, 3 Infernal Devices, the last 3 Mortal Instruments, or you do need to read them in publication order. So the first 3 Mortal Instruments, and then 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6. Because there is spoilers and also overlap. I remember really loving this one when I first read it. I thought I loved this series more than the Mortal Instruments, and while I still do really love this series, I don't think I love it more. The first book, again, is probably more a 4.5 than a 5 because it is introducing a lot of stuff. However, again, the main character, Will, is not my favorite. I really do love Jem more, and we get more of him being more of a main character in the second 2 books. So the first book, while good, is not my favorite, but I do love the fact that these are like in the 1800s. We do get a little bit more warlock stuff in here. We get the fact that Tessa is not a Shadowhunter, whereas like all the main characters really in the Mortal Instruments, most of them are Shadowhunters. So we did get extra elements in here that I really did enjoy. We also have the Clockwork creatures, which is a whole nother element, because like in the Mortal Instruments we're dealing more with like a rogue Shadowhunter. In this one we're dealing with Clockwork creatures. I love the fact that each different series gives us new villains to, like, I don't think necessarily root for, but that's almost what I wanted to say. But yes, really love this. I do feel like the epilogue of Clockwork Princess is one of my favorites. It wraps up this series so well. That last book is also so emotional, but I love it. Then I continued on in the Mortal Instruments. I gave City of Fallen Angels and City of Lost Souls 4 stars because those are probably my least favorite novels of the entire Shadowhunter world. We get characters acting really out of character. There are reasons for some of it, but that never really rubbed me the right way. It was just something that I did not enjoy. Also, because of the fact that we got Red Scrolls of Magic in between the like halves of the Mortal Instruments, Alex's character does not feel continuous, continuity-wise. It is a little bit off, because I do feel like he is more mature in Red Scrolls of Magic. I know that one was written more recently than these ones, but you can just feel that divide a little bit more. I still love Red Scrolls of Magic, and I love the Eldest Curses series, but keep that in mind. And then taking away those two, which are still good, they're just not my favorite, then we have City of Heavenly Fire, which is one of my favorite endings. This is so good. The accumulation of books 4 and 5 lead to this one. I absolutely love the Mortal Instruments gang. Like, the way that they all work together is so well done. Absolutely love this one. And so even though books 4 and 5 are not my favorite, they lead to this one. It's perfect. We have more like demon-y goings on in these ones than just like rogue Shadowhunters. So even though it is still the Mortal Instruments series, I do feel like this could almost be a separate trilogy, like a continuation trilogy, because it is sort of dealing with the same characters, but the problem is completely different. Then we're moving into short story collections. So the first one we have here is the Bane Chronicles. This is basically Magnus sort of writing about his life as a book, short stories, that he gives to Alec in the 6th book, and this is us being able to experience it. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. There were some stories I really enjoyed. Like, I really loved The Midnight Heir and The Course of True Love and First Dates. So The Midnight Heir does introduce us to James Herondale, which will be in Chain of Gold, and then we also have, like I said, The Course of True Love and First Dates, which is about Magnus and Alec's first date. I really did enjoy this, but again, there were some stories that I just felt were a little bit too long. They write this in 3rd person because that's how Cassandra Clare does all of her books, but I feel like because it was supposed to be Magnus writing about his life, it probably would have been better as 1st person, and he talks a little bit too much about clothes and apartments and stuff, but that's just me. Then we had another short story collection. This is Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. Can't get into this one too much because it does take place after the Mortal Instruments series, and it's basically about the Shadowhunters reopening the Shadowhunter Academy, which takes in both Shadowhunter, like, kids and teenagers to be better Shadowhunters, as well as mundanes in order to train them to ascend to become Shadowhunters. Again, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Some of the stories were a little bit long and I just wasn't as interested. However, I really did love Pale Kings and Princes, Bitter of Tongue, and Born of Endless Night. Those were like my absolute favorite ones. This short story collection is more emotional than the Bane Chronicles. I had read this before. I did know some of the spoilers, but like, they are 2 completely separate emotional reading experiences. Then I read the newest released book. This is again going to be by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. This is the 2nd book in the Eldest Curses series. It is The Lost Book of the White, and I really enjoyed this one. Give it 5 out of 5 stars. I feel like this one fits better in the continuity, better than Red Scrolls of Magic. It definitely feels like the characters are more normal. You do have to read this after Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy because there are spoilers, but we do get like the gang back all together again in order to defeat more demons and find the Lost Book of the White. And It was really, really fun. This one does take place mostly in Shanghai, so they do have like Chinese mythology in there. I really, really enjoyed this one. So good. I can't wait for the third one in this series. Then, can I even lift these up? Not in one hand like some of the other series. I read The Dark Artifices. I have read Lady Midnight before, but I had not read Lord of Shadows or Queen of Air and Darkness. This series deals with more of the fairy aspect as our bad guys instead of like demons, rogue shadow hunters, clockwork creatures, and I really, really enjoyed this one. This is a long ass series. I do feel like some of it could have been shortened down a little bit, but they were all 5 stars. This was so well done. I also do want to applaud Cassandra Clare for having a love triangle, and the solution to the love triangle was a polyamorous relationship that needs to happen in more books, like especially when like every single person has feelings for the other person. It was great. These books, the reason I had never read Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness is because I had heard already before Queen of Air and Darkness came out that Lord of Shadows, the ending was devastating, and it was. I feel like the beginning 60-70 pages of Queen of Air and Darkness could have possibly been in Lord of Shadows. They felt like they went together very, very well because of the fact that we get the devastating part in Lord of Shadows and then we get the aftermath in Queen of Air and Darkness. They did go into grief a lot and family a lot in these books. I cried in Queen of Air and Darkness. They had a lot of stuff like that going on. This is also the only series so far where the last book, the epilogue, did not wrap things up. It opened it up for more books. We got sneak peek basically at what the Wicked Powers is going to be like. I have no idea what we are really getting into, but I'm excited. I'm also a little bit wary because of the fact that like Cassandra Clare is still writing the Chain of Gold series, which is The Last Hours, and then she's writing another series that's not Shadowhunter related, so the Wicked Powers might take a while to get out, but they left it open in Queen of Air and Darkness, and I need to know what happens. Then we read our last short story collection. This is Ghost of the Shadow Market. This one follows around Jem and Brother Zachariah as they go through different shadow markets throughout the years. I, again, gave this 4 out of 5 stars. The first 5 books I did not really enjoy as much. They were okay. The last 5 were great. My favorites were definitely Son of the Dawn and The Land I Lost. Those were amazing. And then the last 2 stories in this, again, take place after Queen of Air and Darkness and are giving us more to be anticipating for the Wicked Powers. One thing I do want to say about this is there are trigger warnings for miscarriage in the first 2 books of this short story collection. Definitely just keep that in mind. And then finally, I did actually make it through Chain of Gold. I read this in the last like day and a half. I really, really enjoyed this one as well. 5 out of 5 stars. I was a little bit wary at first because of the fact that this is basically following the children of the characters from the Infernal Devices, and we did meet some of them in the short story collections. However, I was confused about who was who. I really, really liked this one. This one, again, is dealing with other stuff. They had to deal with basically demons that are not the typical demons. So I think it was like for at least 10 years or so before the start of this book, London had not really had that many demons, and so they were getting a little bit complacent as Shadowhunters. Not, you know, terribly, but then all of a sudden we had demons that nobody knew what kind of demons they were. They could go out in the sunlight, so things that Shadowhunters had never seen before. And we have a ghosty element in here as well that was really well done, because I know in some of the other books they do mention that Herondales can see ghosts, and so that definitely comes to fruition in here. I'm very, very excited for more in this series. There is, again, that little bit of mention of the miscarriage in here. It definitely happens in Ghost of the Shadow Market. This is just like, they mention it like once or twice as like the aftermath, obviously, because like the short story was around this time period. I am so excited for more in this series. I really, really love this one. I am curious to see where this is going to go because of the fact that Cassandra Clare included a lot of romantic entanglements in this book. we have a lot of relationships that are going to probably be love triangles or quadrangles, or who knows what it's going to be, because there was a lot of entanglements in here. Also, I did not show the Shadowhunter family tree in my vlogs because it is spoilery. It comes on the back of the dust jacket for Clockwork Princess, and it is a found family tree according to Cassandra Clare, because there are some spoilers on there, but it is also not correct. And that definitely is coming to fruition again in this book, because there were people on the family tree that either said it was born at a certain time and that's not true in here, or they died at a certain time and that's not true in here. And I'm so curious again. Obviously that's gonna make everything more mysterious for this, because we can't trust anything on that family tree. But I also now feel like once all the books are done, we need a family tree. There's so many connections of how people had kids and what lines go to what. I loved this book, but now I need the next one, and it doesn't come out until March. Okay, but that is everything. I was hoping for a short recap for Shadowhunter September. I'm hoping this actually is not that long. But I read 18 books and over 10,000 pages this month, so yay. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I do have videos up Mondays, Thursdays, and sometimes Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye.